Hello, good morning, everyone.
Good morning, ma'am.
Okay, have you done the homework that I told you in the last lecture to complete all the definitions which we have seen, that is closed set, dense set, closure of the set, what is limit point, other point, and what is neighborhood, right? So these things, if you are knowing, then you can proceed to the syllabus of general topology. Okay. Yes, if you have done, say yes. Otherwise, we'll go for the syllabus of general topology because we don't have a much time to wait. Yes, किती जणांनी homework केलंय?
केला है मैम.
सांगा.
Yes, ma'am.
How many definitions we have seen in the last lecture? Starting with the definition of a closed set, limit point, neighborhood, closure, boundary, points. All these, at least some of them you can tell. Okay. Hmm. Yes. Yes, how many of you have done the homework? Okay, let it be. I will assume you have done the homework. Okay. Let us go for the next point. From the basic points that we have to cover is definition of a metric space. I hope at least this you can know in your BSc third year or in the second year you have studied what is a metric space. Whole paper was there about a metric space. In all the definition of same things, that is what is a dense set, what is closure of the set, what are the limit points, everything we have to see about the metric space also. Because metric space and the topological space have a one important property that I will tell you later on, what is the relation between the metric space and the topological space. Before that, let us go for the definition of a metric space. What we have for the definition of a metric space, let X be a non-empty set. Okay, why we are taking the non-empty condition every time in the group also, in the definition of a group also we say G is a non-empty set. Okay, because if we are having an empty set, no need to do anything with that empty set. So we have the X to be a non-empty set. What is the next thing? Where D is a metric defined on X. Okay, which satisfies the condition. What the conditions it will satisfy? The D is a function from x cross x to close interval 0 to infinity, or in another way, I can say it is R plus. What do you mean by R plus? It is set of all the positive real numbers. I can say this to be a whole real line. But if you see the first condition of a metric space, what is the first condition for the metric space is d of
D
xy
of
is greater.
xy greater equals 0.
D of xy is a greater equal by 0, which means that whenever you're going to find out the distance between any 2 points in the your set x cross x, obviously the distance is always a positive. We are not going to measure distance to be a negative. Suppose you have traveled from the say from Stanford University and you come back, you see that you have traveled the total two times the distance. If you say that the distance covered from Stanford University is x, then you can say it is we have traveled a 2x, right? So never we are not going to say that we have traveled a minus 2x or minus x like this. Okay, so whenever you are going to define a metric space, it is always a positive number. It is either greater than 0 or equal to 0. That means either there is no displacement, then there will not be any displacement, or the distance is 0, then x and y are equal. That means if x is equal to y, then only we can say d of xy is equals to 0, if and only if x is equals to y, right? So that's why in the here we can write as simply r plus or set of all positive real numbers, or I can say this to be a whole real line. But no doubt if you are going to write down the whole real line, we are not having any problem with the negative negative real numbers. Okay, and can anyone define this x cross x? We have defined a cross b in the thing also. Hmm. What is x cross x? It is nothing but the set which contains the element of the form xy, which the condition x belongs to x, y belongs to y, or in an y belongs to x. Or in another way, if you are writing a cross b, then we say that we have the product like a comma b, and a is an element from capital A and b is an element from capital B, right? So the first condition for the matrix space is d of xy is greater or equal by 0. That's why we have restricted the codomain to be a r plus, or we can have it to be a whole real line. Next condition for this, as we have discussed, is the distance will be equal to 0 only if and only if we have x is equal to y. Just like if we say if you have traveled from university, then again come back, so you can say whatever the displacement is 2x, but what is the distance covered? It is equal to 0. Since initial and final positions are same, x is equal to y, hence we can say dxy is equal to 0. But the what is the displacement? Displacement is 2x. If you travel from Stanford University, we can consider it to be a some distance x and then come back. Okay, now let us go for the third point. What is the third point in this is d of xy is equal to d of yx. Okay, if you are going to take any 2 points, suppose some person is here, so what is the distance between A and B will be exactly the distance between B and A. Okay, now the next thing is the fourth property, which is a very important property for us, is because this property is having the two conditions. What are the two conditions? D of xz is less equal by d of xy plus d of yz. What this condition ensures on the condition of z? Okay, z. What is z? Anyone remember what is z? Sorry, what is y or xyz? Rather, what are xyz and what are the conditions between xyz? If I want to have inequality and if I want to have a equality, because in the fourth condition we have the two things, either it is strictly less or it is equality. Can anyone tell me when there will be equality and when there will be strictly less?
If z is on a straight line passing through x and y, then it will be equality.
Okay, that is why the confusion I have created. I have written here d of xz. So that's why you should say y is a point in between x and z, right? Many times we are writing this condition to be d of xy is less equal to d of xz plus d of zy. That's why I have created this confusion that what is z. Okay, so don't confuse with this variables x, y, and z. So you should remember that if I'm having xz here and y, if I have matrices here, y between x and z. For this one, what is the condition when there this will be equality and then there will be completely less than? Have you heard about this? Have you tried to find out this? When there will be strictly less than and when there will be equality?
Yes, ma'am. If y is on straight line through xz, then it will be equality. And if it will be triangular path, then it will be less than.
Okay. Instead of saying this to be a triangular path, we can say if we are in the 2D plane and it is like this. Suppose here is x and y and here is z. So we can find out the distance. And what you told just now for the equality, the points should be collinear. Do you mean by collinear? For equality, x, y, z, all the points should be collinear. Yes, can anyone define what is a collinearity?
They are on the same line.
That means if they are on the same line, then this equality holds, and less than, that is strictly less fill condition will hold only if they are not in a straight line, or we can say they are not collinear. If they are not collinear, it may be on the 2D or 3D space or anywhere else. Okay. Now, after that, let us go for the definitions of open set, open sphere. All this definition we will see in the metric space, just like we have discussed for the last lecture. Because in the last lecture I have told you you have to tell me the definitions in the next lecture so that we can discuss. If no one has told me any definition, so I am not going to teach you once again. Okay, so let us repeat these definitions in the metric space. Okay. So starting with the definition of a open sphere. What is the definition of a open sphere in our metric space? Because in the our real analysis we have defined a open interval. Okay, that definition I hope you have seen. Now let us see the definition of open sphere. Let X be any non-empty set. Again the condition is same. Let X be an any non-empty set. Let A be an element of X. Then the open sphere with center at A and the radius R is denoted by. Then the open sphere center at A and the radius R is denoted by B of AR, or we can say the open sphere center at A and the radius R is denoted by S of AR, and it is written as. What is the condition for this? It is nothing but the collection of all the elements from A such that we are going to put those elements in such a way that the distance of those elements from your point A is strictly less than R, right? So that means simply we are going to collect all the points of your original set X. We are going to collect all the points of original set X in such a way that what we can have the condition for this is here what is A is a center and R is a radius. For this the condition is what, we are going to collect all the elements of X such that the distance between those center of this sphere and any points from your X should be less than R. That means this condition ensures that you have a open sphere. Okay, then there will be a closed ball. Okay, the closed ball condition will be less than or equality. That means all the points of inside as well as all the points of the boundary. But here we are not having the condition to have a points of the boundary. Simply we have a open sphere. But what is the condition for the closed ball? Okay, what is the condition for closed bound? It is less than or equality. That means we are going to collect all the points on the boundary also. Now let us go for the next definition, that is open set in a metric space. Now how you are going to define the open set in a metric space? Just like we have defined the open set in a set theory or in the real, we have defined it as a let G be the open set, or we can say let S be the open set. We can say S is the open set if it satisfies the condition. There is an open interval, or there we can say there is an open interval which contains a point X which is contained in S completely. Then we say that this is a what open set, right? So in the very similar way, we have to define the open set in a metric space. What is an open set in a metric space? Let X be a non-empty set, G be the subset of X. What is G? G is any subset of X. My laptop charging is very less, and maybe light is not available here. So that's why maybe lecture may be ending some time. So you have to understand that, and you have to leave the meeting. So what we have the condition is, uh, let G be the any subset of X, then for every X belongs to G is what we have the condition, if for every X belongs to D, there exists an open sphere. What is an open sphere? There exists an open sphere such that B of X R belongs to, or it is contained in G. And the very similar way here, because here we have not restricted for X. Okay, X may be any number. For every element of G, that is for every element X of G, we have an open sphere which contains X, which is contained in G. Then we mention it's a open set. Okay, so what is the condition for the open set? There should exist a open sphere which contains that point and which is contained in G. Then we say that G is a open set, or in another way we can say G is a neighborhood of each of its points. Or in another way I can write in the form of a diagram this as, suppose this is your X, and let us have this point is X. X is simply arbitrary point. I can have this condition for any point. So what is this? This is what your B of X are, and let me take to the next page. How we can draw this as, suppose this is what our X, and here we have, suppose this is a point X, and this is what your B of X are, and this is what your G. So if this condition holds for every point of X, okay, kitty outside the point of X, suppose here is also some point of G. So I can draw an open sphere. Here is also there. If I can draw the open sphere for every point, whatever may be the point, if I can draw the open sphere containing that point and which is contained in G, if it is true for every point of G, okay, for all point of X, there exists B of XR. Okay, there must be a very clear thing about this for all, and there exists. There exists म्हणजे कमीत कमी एक ओपन सेट एक ओपन स्फिअर पाहिजे जे तुमच्या पॉइंट एक्स ला कंटेन करायला पाहिजे आणि तो स्वतः जी मध्ये असायला पाहिजे. ओके, so for every point of X there exists a open sphere which is contained in G, then we call it as an open set. Or in another way we can say G is a neighborhood of each of its points. G is a neighborhood of each of its points. The very similar things will go on in your real analysis. That was a homework for you. The next thing we are going to repeat is the properties of a metric space. What are the properties of a metric space we have seen is, phi and X are always open and closed set. The next one is arbitrary union of open set is open, finite intersection of open set is open, finite union of closed set is closed, arbitrary intersection of closed set is closed. Okay, have you heard this statement? I will write down now, but before that I will ask whether you have heard this type of statement in your metric space.
Yes, ma'am.
Whether you know the counter examples for that, if some of the conditions are not going to satisfy. Phi and X are always open and closed set, and the next first property of the metric space is arbitrary union of open set is open set. Let me denote the open sets as U. Sorry, O. Arbitrary union of open set. Arbitrary union of open set is what? Again an open set, or we can denote it as say OI. The resultant is again an open set. Okay, where I runs from 1 to infinity. As we say that it is an arbitrary union. The next condition is the finite intersection of open set is open. Okay, finite intersection of where I runs from 1 to n. Finite intersection of a open set is again a open set. Okay, the next thing we are going to see is the fourth property. What is the fourth property? The finite union of a closed set is closed. Okay, finite union of a closed set is closed. Let me denote the closed set by F. The finite union of the closed set is closed. Let us denote it by Fi. The resultant is again a closed set. Now, starting from this, in the whole topology, we will denote F as a closed set. And remember, we are going to denote G as a open set. Just now here I have written it as O because mostly the notations we are using in the matrix space or in real analysis for open set is O. Later on in the study of a topology in whole paper, F is a closed set, G is a open set. Okay, so what we have here is the finite union of a closed set is again a closed set. What is the next condition for this is arbitrary intersection of a closed set is closed set. Okay, arbitrary intersection of closed set is a closed set. Okay, now if you want to write, if you want to remember these conditions, because there is somewhat a confusion like this, because here we have arbitrary union of open set is open, and here we have arbitrary intersection of a closed set is closed, and here we have intersection of a open set, finite intersection of open set is open, but finite union of a closed set is closed. For that, we have one shortcut, that is RU find. Okay, that means arbitrary union of a open set is open and finite intersection of a open set is open. And for the reverse way, that means we can write the same statement for the closed set. Ulta karaycha. U R. That means first we have here finite intersection of a open set is open. First you remember this one. RU find means arbitrary union of a open set is open, and reverse is finite intersection of a open set is open, and reverse you can do for the closed set. Right. Now we have some counter examples. That means what will happen for this set. Okay, I will write one example for that. You have to verify whether which one, in which condition this will be a counter example. N belongs to capital N. You have to find out, as F is a notation for the closed set. So this is what a closed set. You have to find out the union of all the closed set, as well as you have to find out the intersection. And this union you have to find out arbitrary union as well as a finite union. And here you have to find out arbitrary intersection as well as a finite intersection. This will be homework. I hope you will do it. Those who want to do the homework, write down this. F is equal to close interval 0 upon n plus 1. N is in the natural number, and you have to find out arbitrary union, arbitrary intersection, finite union, and finite intersection. Okay, and you have to tell me for which condition it is a counter example, or for which it is an example. The next thing that we are going to discuss is a finite set, infinite set, countably infinite, countable set. These are very vast concept. At least one lecture we are going to need for this. But let us start with the definitions of the finite set. Yes. Can anyone define what is a finite set? Yes, what is a finite set? You haven't come across any example of a finite set? आवाज येते ना माझा?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello. A set which contains or we can say a set in which process of counting of element comes to the end is called a finite set. A set in which process of counting comes to end, just like I will write down the example for this is what is this set?
The number of elements in it is infinite.
No, I'm asking about capital A that I have written. It is very well known set, no?
Finite set of vowels.
Set of vowels, we can say it is a finite set, a set in which the process of counting comes to the end. Just like we can say the number of students in the MSc first year, the process of counting is going to end. Or in another way, if we were in the physical lecture, but we can give the example is number of benches in the classroom, or we can say the number of classroom in our whole school of computation science, right? Or the number of teachers for the department of mathematics, or any set which we have the number of elements or the process of counting is going to end. जिथे process of counting end होणार नाही त्या सेटला आपण infinite set म्हणतो. That means we cannot say this is what the last number of your set. If you're not knowing what is the last number of your set, then we can say it is an infinite set, right? The process of counting, if you are going to say the process of counting of any set is going to end somewhere, then we call it is a finite set. And if the process of counting is not going to end, then we said it is a infinite set. Okay. The next thing which we come across is a countably infinite set. An infinite set is said to be countably infinite set if it is equivalent to set of natural number. Okay. What is the next thing? Countably infinite set. Countable infinite set. Okay, this is what a countable infinite set. That means it is equivalent to set of natural number. Now my question is why we are saying equivalence with the set of natural number for any countable infinite set, right? The next is a definition of countable set. A set which is either empty set, finite, countably infinite, or are called as a countable set. Okay, we'll discuss this one later on in the definition of a countable set. Okay, what is the definition for the countable set? This is a set. What is a countable set? It is either empty set. First, it is either empty set, or it is a finite set, or it is a countably infinite set, is called a countable set. Okay, now my question is why for the countably infinite set we say an infinite set is said to be countably infinite if it is equivalent to set of natural number. Okay, countably infinite set means an infinite set is said to be countably infinite if it is equivalent to set of natural number, right? This question you have to solve. What is the answer for this? Why we are having the इक्वेलेंस विद द नेचुरल नंबर? क्यों हमने नेचुरल नंबर के साथ ही इक्वेलेंस लिया है अगर हमको काउंटेबली इनफाइनाइट सेट अगर फाइंड आउट करना है, राइट? द नेक्स्ट इज डेफिनेशन ऑफ अनकाउंटेबल सेट. व्हाट इज एन अनकाउंटेबल सेट? A set which is not countable. A set which is not countable. What do you mean by a not countable? Can anyone tell me how many elements are there in between 0 and 1? In the real life.
Infinite.
Whether it is infinite or uncountable. That is what the question I have asked you. For countably infinite set, why we are having an equivalence with the set of natural number? We say the set of natural number is a countable set, or we say it is countably infinite set. The next is the definition of countable set. What is the definition of countable set? Either it is empty, finite, or countable infinite. Okay. What is empty set? It does not have an element. Finite set means the process of counting is ended. You can say the friends group or the students of MSc first year or student of MSc second year, or we can say the number of classroom in the whole school of computations as. On the next definition is uncountable set, set which is not a countable, right? Why we say it is not countable? Because if you see the definition of countable set, what is the definition of countable set? Either it is empty, finite, or countably infinite. Okay. So not countable means it will not be an empty set, it will not be a finite set, as well as it is not a countably infinite. Okay, you have to go by the definition. Whatever the definition of a countable set we have, you have to apply the not for everything. Right? Uncountable set means which is not a countable. That means either it will not be empty set, it will not be a finite set, or it will not be a countably infinite set. Right? So, what do you mean by countably infinite set? We have the one-one correspondence, or we can say it is equivalent to set of natural number. We can say one-one correspondence, or we can say it is equivalent to natural number, right? So, if it is not a countable, that means we can say it will not have a one-one correspondent with the set of natural number, or in another way, we can say the uncountable set is not equivalent to set of natural number, right? Can you say the set of real line is equivalent to set of natural number? Yes, set of real line, whether it is equivalent to set of natural number. Just now someone told the
No,
close
ma'am.
interval. No. Why you have told this to be no? Whether you have any proper reason for that is why the set of real line is not equivalent to natural number, or we can say it is not having any verbal correspondence with the natural number. I hope you come across one theorem in your BSc, countable union of countable set is countable. ऐकलेत का हे theorem?
Yes, ma'am.
Countable union of countable set is countable. What we have done in that theorem, or whether the converse of that theorem is true. Or whether this theorem is true for uncountable set. Uncountable union of uncountable set is countable. Or rather, we can say it is countable union of uncountable set is countable or uncountable. You have to verify. Okay, whenever we are going to study any theorem, you have to see the contrapositive and converse part. For that, in your 12th standard, you have studied what are the logic gates. Have you studied the logic gates? Okay, just tell me whether you have studied these type of relations. I will write down so that you come across this. You have prepared this type of a table P, Q. Either you can write it as TTFF, or we can write it as 1100, and then it is 1010. Then we write AND operation, OR operation, if and only if operation. लिहिलेत का असे?
Yes, ma'am.
What are the use of this? Actually, this one, whatever we have written, if then statement, this is what if and only if. So we have studied this because we are going to need these type of statement later on in your BSc and MSc. Okay, in the 12th standard, many of this type of a table we have prepared, and an OR gate, right? If you are having more than 4 operations, so we can have T 4 times, then F 4 times, right? So what is this if then statement? We have the statement like contrapositive. Okay, P implies Q. Then what is a contrapositive for P implies Q? आठवते का contrapositive statement?
Negation Q implies negation
Negation
P.
Q
Negation
implies
P.
P. And we see that whatever the resultant of this we are obtaining from the table. इसका जो भी टेबल आपको मिलता है और इसका टेबल दोनों सेम होता है ना?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So we can say these two statements are same. Suppose whatever the theorems you have studied up to now, जो भी आपने theorem algebra में पढ़े हैं या whatever the theorems you have studied in real analysis, in the Riemann integration, in the number theory. So many of the theorems are of the type if then, or in another way they are of the type if and only, like P implies Q. P implies an implied Q, and then we can say P implies Q. So if I say I have one statement like P implies Q, so if the entries of these table are equal, then we can say these two statements are also equal.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So whatever the theorems you have studied up to now, that is, suppose you have studied 100 theorems, no doubt 100 से ज़्यादा होंगे. So if you have studied 100 theorems or 100 statements, so now you will have 200 statements or 200 theorems. बरोबर ना? If implies in having statement of theorem that is on if then or if you write for every statement if you write the contrapositive of that statement, you will have the double number of statement. Like in the algebra, we are having so many statements in your algebra one paper. In the Riemann integration, it is not so many theorem, but you can write every statement in the contrapositive format. Okay. So can we have this type of a statement? Are you agree with this? Whatever the 100 statements we have, we can convert it to a 200.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
That's why in the SETNET exam, they will not ask you the direct questions. Okay. Directly, they will not ask you the Lagrange's theorem. They will have some contrapositive statement of a Lagrange's theorem, or they will include some condition like instead of having a group definition of a group, or instead of having G to be any finite group, they will say that the order of a G is a some prime. Okay, this condition, if they are going to include, some of the points of your theorem is going to change, right? So here, whatever the statement we have, P implies Q. If you are writing, if you are having any type of a theorem, countable union of countable set is countable. Okay. So you have to find out what is the contrapositive statement of this. Or in another way, if suppose you have studied the Lagrange's theorem, you have to find out the contrapositive statement of that Lagrange's theorem. Right. So what was our discussion? What is uncountable set? That means uncountable means what? Not countable. Right. That means it will not have a one-one correspondence with the set of natural number. Okay, how it will not have a one-one correspondence and how you are going to prove this? Have you studied or have you come across your recommended book R.R. Goldberg, Real Analysis R.R. Goldberg?
Yes, everyone can leave the meeting. The laptop charging is ended now.
मॅम लेक्चर दररोज 8:30 पासूनच चालू होणार का?
हो 8:30 पासून चालू आहे.
बरं बरं 11 पासून असलं तर म्हणजे टाइमचं जरा मॅनेजमेंट झालं असतं ना. असं का विद्यापीठ चालू होईपर्यंत हे?
नाही असं काही कंडिशन नाही आहे. तुम्ही टेंगे मॅडमला मेसेज टाका किंवा ग्रुपला मेसेज टाका.
बरं बरं चालेल.